Hello, and happy fucking Wednesday, you guys. And welcome to People Talk Now. I'm your host, Vanessa Herrera, and this is the show where you ask about it, and I talk about it. And let's not forget, guys, we are constantly trying to change the pace out there on what these beautiful humans are calling better days. So yeah, welcome, good morning, happy Wednesday. I hope that you woke up in good spirits today. I hope that you woke up with a vibe today, that you're ready to fucking smash your goals. And I understand that, we're still in quarantine and it's like, things are changing little by little. But, the fact of the matter is that no matter what, always find an opportunity to work on yourself and to get you that much closer to your destination, whatever that may be. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking, Vanessa, what in the hell is going on with your hair? Don't worry. So I will explain that in a quick little second, but let me just get into the intro. So you guys, yes, I hope you woke up with the vibe, and I hope that you're ready to really work on you, because ultimately working on you is the ultimate icing on the cake for your success, So yeah, and today, yes, episode 38, I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to give like a quick little story as to why I started writing poetry, how long I've been writing poetry, and I also wanted to talk about the importance of creativity. Basically, I just want to talk about what is creativity, or like, why do we even need creativity? Why creativity is important to me, basically. So on that note, yes, welcome to episode 38, y'all. And if you guys are wondering, like, what is going on with my hair? Yes, I wanted to experiment. I wanted to feel all the creativeness that comes with being who I am. And being who I am, basically, is wanting to try everything that I've always wanted to try, anything that I've always wanted to do. And so recently, in the past couple weeks, I, came across like a YouTube profile of this woman who I started watching her stories on YouTube, and I was really inspired, by her story and about just pretty much embracing who she wanted to be. And I thought that was really amazing, because that is so true. That is part of being whoever the fuck you want to be. So a lot of you guys already know that I have a buzzed head, and I buzzed it off because I wanted to. I've always wanted to do that. But at the same time, I started thinking, like, I know myself. I know that I always love trying new colors. I know that I like dyeing my hair and things like that. And so to refrain myself from doing such things, I don't want to do that to my hair. I really want my hair to grow naturally healthy. And so I thought, hey, let's fucking throw a wig on it, okay? And so to start off with, I wanted to start off with like a pink one, which I really, really like. It's actually like down, but I put it up because I wanted to, because why not? So yeah, that's pretty much the story. Like, the story is, I very much love my buzzed hair, but I also very much want to wear wigs. And like, I feel like all women should do whatever the fuck you want to do and embrace whoever the fuck you want to be. And there's not really no sad sob story behind it. It's just do whatever the fuck you want, live life, and don't wait around for any fucking signs, because the signs will never come. You have to create your own signs and be your own goddamn cheerleader. Okay. Now that we've got that wig situation out of the way, I hope you guys, sorry, I had to fix these bangs on my own. And if you guys like this wig, drop comments. Maybe, I'll post a link in the description below in case you guys want to go check it out. Buy yourself a wig and get jiggy with it. Okay, now, today's topic of the day. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing my stories. So let's go back in time, shall we? So, not too long ago, although it is actually very long ago, I remember like being a small kid, probably like 12 years old, if I can go back that far. So well over 15 years ago. I know a lot of you guys are like, how fucking old are you, bitch? Yeah, I'm pretty crusty. But the vegan life, I have my Asian genes to thank for it, and the vegan life just hooking me up left and right. Bless the vegan life. So yes, obviously Over 15 years ago, I remember a time when my dad, he basically took this suitcase out of his room and he like opened it and he like showed me all these poems, and there was like all sorts of poems written there, like love poems, like short poems. And I remember I was so inspired. I remember like him sharing that moment with me, and like it was like this really dope connection. And I was so happy, to like see this other part of my dad, which, I always knew he was like such a open, free-spirited soul, and I aspired to be so much like him every single day of my life, and basically like he told me his story, and I remember like reading some of the poems, and I remember saying like, Dad, you're so good, like how come you haven't like done this, how come you haven't done that? And I remember him saying to me like, he's like, I always dreamed of basically like writing a short children's poem book and stuff like that. And I was just like, wow, like this is so cool. And I remember just like from that moment, I remember being really inspired to write. And so to me, what ended up happening is that I turned that into an outlet to not just be creative, but to also, let out my emotions, to basically journal my life experience. And so a lot of the times whenever growing up, when I started just getting better and better, because it took about 5 years for me to be able to express myself in the way that the formula that I liked, that, I didn't like whenever I would go to any poem, place like a stand-up poetry places, and they're just like, oh, your poem is like, your writing is like this, or oh, like this. And like, people will start to critique you for the way that you write things, for your creativity, for your passion, for your art, right? And not to say that it's not okay for people to critique you basically on your art, but at the same time, it's like, I remember when I first started out writing poems, they were always very simple poem, and I had that whole mindset where I was like, oh, it has to rhyme, things have to rhyme. And eventually I ended up just kind of creating my own formula, and it felt like I was rapping, it felt like I was singing, it felt like I was just talking. Every situation called for a different circumstance, especially when it came to my writing. And so I just got better and better, and I started opening up, and it helped me come out of my shell. It helped me express my feelings in the world, express my feelings about myself, about everything around me. And so the reason why I wanted to basically put these two things together, like why I wanted to talk about creativity and why it's so important for us to have creativity, whether you're a musician, whether you're a writer, whether you're a poet, whether you're a singer, you just like to doodle now and then, anything, you're a dancer, sometimes you just need to fucking write out your thoughts, because life can be fucking hard sometimes, and you just need to say whatever the fuck you need to say without somebody judging you, or without, someone telling you, oh, this is how you should think, right? Wrong. So, it wasn't until after, I think in my early 19-ish 20s, I started doing like stand-up poetry, and I would really try to get in there. And like, when I mean I try to get in there, I tried to get in there. I was like, whatever I could, like I would go, back in the day, you go on Craigslist, you go everywhere. I went wherever I had to basically get myself through the door so that I could do stand-up poetry. And that's how you have to be. Like when you're hungry and you're passionate about your creativity and you really need people to hear you out, well, you got to do whatever the fuck it takes to basically capture people's attention. You know what I mean? Like you gotta, this is your art. This is you. This is who you are. And it's very important, And that's a real siren, I happen to live very fucking close, like a street away from the fire station. So shout out to the fire station for always coming out on my podcast. But let's let that pass. Okay, cool. Back to it. So yeah, basically, you guys, like, poetry has always been a really big part of my life, and I thank the fucking stars every day that my dad showed me like that part of him, so that he just opened up this new part inside of my soul that I didn't even know was there. It's like a door got opened, and I suddenly discovered like another part of me that I never knew was there, And that opened up so many opportunities for me in my life, because if it wasn't for me writing poetry, even through times where people said that my writing wasn't good, that, oh, blah, blah, blah. It sounds like you're rapping. It sounds like this, blah, fucking, who gives a fuck, dude? People will judge you. If you do good, people will still talk shit. If you do bad, people will still talk shit. That's just how it is. And for me, my only desire at the end of the day was just writing to tell people, look, this is how I see the world, and you're more than welcome to join me and see the world through my eyes, see the world through my words, through my heart, through my mind, And it felt damn good to talk about it. And I encourage you, if you've ever wanted to basically write something, understand that most of the time whenever I wrote something, it wasn't always necessarily to basically just express how I was feeling. But most of the times, if I've had questions that were left unanswered, or if I was thinking about music or pictures, or, thinking of something like with my tongue, my throat, whatever. Yeah, that's right. I said it. My feet, my hips, like anything you're feeling, like, I wanted to basically write about it, and I wanted to speak my truth. I wanted ultimately that to be the mark that I left in this world. And so to me, writing poetry has been one of the most rewarding creative aspects of my life. And it has, like I said, opened many doors. I've met so many good friends through just opening up and coming out of my shell, and just, going and standing up in front of people and just saying, hey, look, I need to tell you guys something, and just kind of like expressing myself. And it's been such a goddamn lovely experience. And I really hope that I'm motivating somebody out there to basically do the same. If you've ever thought about it, if somebody ever has told you that, like, you're no good or you're no this, like, you will never know your potential if you don't actually just do it, right? To just let go of that fear, and you'll start to realize how amazing it feels actually when you just become who you've always wanted to become, right? And you'll never actually know who that person is until you actually take the first step forward and be like, look back and be like, oh shit, like, damn, that's who I can be. Like, and it's such a good feeling, part of being creative is trying things you've always wanted to try. So I was just like, yo, I want to wear like wigs. I want to try different things. And so I did. And that's part of like becoming who you want to be, and not giving a fuck what people say. Because like I said, people will always have shit to say regardless. If you're doing good, they'll talk shit to you for doing well. You do bad, they'll talk shit to you for doing bad. And like, it sucks, I never wanted to be one of those people that kick somebody when they're down. We need to encourage one another to grow together, especially in this time, where everything communication-wise has become very digital, since a lot of people are still, spending, like their times at home and social distancing and whatnot. So definitely, I would encourage people to basically help their friends creatively who are trying to be musicians, who are trying to be DJs, who are artists, who are photographers, who are writers, who are musicians that write lyrics, lyricists, whatever you want to say. It's very important, basically. And I just had to share that quick story about me writing poetry, and how writing is just like a huge part of my life. And I basically could not see myself, because if that time ever comes where you're just kind of questioning, like, is this something that is just a hobby, or is this something that that I'm even meant to do? Ask yourself this. And these are my dad's words, and I use this every day, and I say this to people when they ask me, like, should I be doing this? And I say this: if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you think about is fill in the blank there, right? Fill in the fucking blank. So if you wake up in the morning and you're saying to yourself, like, I'm going to use myself as an example. If you wake up and you say, damn, like, you wake up and like, oh, fuck. The first thing you think about is writing, or the first thing you think about is talking to people and making a difference and letting your voice be heard and not giving a shit what other people's opinions is. You feel me? Then that's what you're meant to do. And if you go to sleep at night and the last thing you can think about is the thing that you love the most, which is to write, then goddamn, you are supposed to be a writer. And those are the fucking famous words of my father. And again, you can fill in the blank. Whatever your creativity thing is, then that's what it is. And it's the truth, you know? And I remember there was a time where I was just like, didn't want to hear that. I was just like, okay, like, how is that even possible? You know, because sometimes I wake up and the first thing I have to think about is going fucking pee. But it's not that. Like, sometimes you have dreams, you have goals, aspirations, and it's hard for us to distinguish sometimes, like, what is actually a hobby? What is something that you really want to fucking do every day when you get up, right? And sometimes we don't know because we're creatures of, we think we're multitaskers, right? We think that we can do one thing and then be doing another thing and that we're doing them both so equally good, but wrong, we're not. We're actually doing one thing better than the other. And I know for a fact that when I get up in the mornings or when I go to sleep at night, especially when it comes to something that I love, that I'm passionate about, being a creative is basically writing. And I think about poetry and I think of all these different ways of how I can express myself to help the world, to help people heal, to help people hurt. Because we're all hurting at one point or another. We all are trying to heal from things that have happened to us in our past. And sometimes people use different things as different outlets. Sometimes people become amazing singers and they tell stories of how to heal hearts through their music. And sometimes people basically write to be able to help heal themselves and heal people around them and to capture people's minds. And ultimately, that is an amazing part of creativity. I don't know when is the last time that maybe you went into an art studio. You know, I know we're all in quarantine, but before you can, you know, if you can look back and think to yourself when you went into an art studio or you went to a concert or you read a book and maybe your mind started racing and you said to yourself like, damn, like, how is it that this person wrote just an amazing masterpiece? Or how is it that, basically, like, they were able to conjure up this story and make it so impactful to the point where it, like, sucked you in, right? No, I get it. Trust me. I get it. But just like anything, right? Just like anything that we do in life and that we become good at it, practicing creativity, even on days where you don't really want to, and there's times where you don't feel like being, like, you maybe can't find it in you, but it's always there. The thing is that sometimes it's so hard to look around you and see that there is creativity in everything, right? It's just the willingness to just grab it and say, okay, I could do something with this. And just like those people who have written amazing songs or great singers or, you know, people that have written great literature books and people that have basically created great art pieces and stuff, this creativity comes from their stories. It comes from their mind, right? And everybody's mind may have a different map, but ultimately, creativity comes from the hunger of wanting to express yourself and beyond the basic way that people express in themselves, like, hey, I like this, or I like you, or this is great, or this is fucking tasty, or this smells amazing, right? It comes from all the senses, right? And that's it. That's my advice, basically, is like when you find yourself stumped and saying why, first of all, how or why do I gather up this creativity when I'm not feeling it, is just start using your senses, you know? Look at art, look at writing, look at movies, look at people around you, absorb the world. Smell things you've never smelled before. Go out and try new things. Touch things, feel textures, you know. Listen to new music. Break yourself out of your comfort zone. You have to do things that make you feel uncomfortable sometimes to find the creativity inside you. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. Before I recorded today's show, I wasn't even absolutely sure if I was going to be 100% comfortable with wearing the wig. I wasn't sure. One thing's for certain, I don't give a fuck. And you shouldn't either. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, seeing myself, I felt fun. I felt like, oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a great show. And yeah, so here I am. But, I mean, have you ever asked yourself, like, what is creativity? Because first of all, I know if you look up the definition of creativity in the dictionary, it's going to be somewhere along the lines of using your imagination to create a new idea or object, right? And most of the times it's basically reference to a creation of some artistic nature. And it's true, but I think creativity is not something that only drives us to create things, but to also be innovative, and you show something like a little formula, a little piece of something that nobody's ever seen before. So you never know, because by you not creating and by you not expressing yourself 100% fully, you could be holding back something that the world really needs. And it's probably like, you're probably the one that has it, right? Like, maybe there's some shit I've been looking for, and all along, you're the person that has it, right? Like, it's you. You have it. That's why I can't find it, because you probably have it. And everybody has like a little different piece somewhere. And that's what's so exciting to me, just knowing that everybody holds a little tiny formula, and you need to bring it to the table and just like, wake up, let's go. So, whenever I'm stumped, I think to myself, goddamn, Vanessa, there has been a time in our history that, we have to think of like what it took for someone to give us the smartphone, right? There was a time where, we had pagers and, had little flip phones, and, people were leaving messages on answering machines. If we can go back further than that, people were writing letters to one another. How far have we come? You're watching me on a YouTube video right now. If that doesn't tell you how fucking powerful creativity is, then my holy fucking baby Jesus, I don't know what is. So just let that seep in for a second. When you say, what is creativity and why do we need it? Why do we need it? Because it helps the world advance. It helps the world come up with new ideas, innovative solutions to fucking problems, okay? Not only does it impact our lives every fucking day, but any single tiny great development could change our century forever. It can change the world. If we think about the smartphone, right, which I just referenced it right now, think about the impact that made on our daily lives every single day. Like, think about that. We can access information like by the fucking second, And if that doesn't inspire, hold on, you guys, I gotta take a little sip of my matcha. I love matcha. Absolutely love it. So, it's like a source that I feel, creativity is like a source that I feel gives really good meaning to our lives, and it makes us feel really good, and then it kind of like spills over into other aspects of our life, and I really enjoy it. And I feel like most of the things that are interesting to us, like important and anything, is basically results from creativity. And when we are involved in the creativity, we feel like we're living our life more full. And that's true. And that's the truth. Because whenever I am doing anything, like whenever I'm writing and I'm listening to music and I'm feeling the vibe, like when I first started this video, I said the vibe. Well, that's the vibe I'm talking about. If you're creative and you've just been wondering, like, where the fuck is my creativity gone? Okay. It doesn't matter your circumstance in your life. Like, it really, like, you can find it. Okay. And if you've been wondering and you've been stumped during this quarantine and been like, where the fuck is my creativity and why can't I find it? It's there. That's the thing. It's just that you need to wake them up, because he or she, whatever you prefer to name your creativity, has been fucking hibernating and they need to wake up. So wake up, okay? This is your wake up call. Okay? If my rooster in the beginning of this video didn't wake you up, I'm going to wake you up. So let's go. Okay? God damn, every time I drink matcha, my energy level is through the roof. So again, first of all, creativity is not only just about doing things, but it's also about like feeling that fulfillment that you feel in your life from doing it, right? So if you're a person that is a photographer, if you're a person that sings, if you play an instrument, right? Like you're just this creative person. And it's not only does it have to be artistic wise, but if you can use that, like I said, to do innovative things at work. You know, if you're a person that does a lot of computer work, or, you know, if you're a person who, you know, develops different ways for coworkers maybe to maybe have more productive days at work and, you know, things like that. Again, creativity can come in all aspects, but understand that if it basically doesn't give you any meaning, or you don't feel this like fulfillment, like damn, like you feel good, right? Because you know you did something different or out of the ordinary, then chances are that you're not digging hard enough, you know? And this is the truth. And I get asked this a lot. So someone asked me, can anybody be creative? Can anyone? So based on the definition of creativity, you know, we conclude that anyone, anywhere can be creative. And that's the truth. Okay? So don't let nobody tell you that if you're not a writer, or you're not a singer, or you're not an art, like a painter or an artist, or, you know, a dancer, you know, I don't know, there's so many different outlets now to be creative. A podcaster, a YouTuber. Yeah, so many things. So many things I can think of, but those are just to name a few that you are not born with it, because that's not true. Like, we all have that sense of creativity in us. Like I said, it's just a matter of fact of just stretching out your curiosity and like digging for that, and ultimately like using your senses, like I said, to find that. And yeah. So I feel like often, most of the time, like our aging process has a lot to do with our like the initial spark of creativity. Because I remember things that used to make me feel get into my creative senses or aspect. It changed over time. It wasn't like before, when I remember there was a time. You guys are gonna laugh about this. Has to going back to my poetry journey, and how I've changed my my formula of writing, and my formula of creativity has more or less almost always remained the same. And so most of the time I use about 3 things that are my go-to for creativity. So one of them is basing things on my real life, or basing things on the life of the people around me, or the way I see the world at the current moment. Number 2 would probably be music. I have always used music. I have always told myself that I want everything that I write to be a reflection of the truth, and I want people to be able to relate to it every time I write it. So, you know, music helps just, you know, I go through all kinds of music. I never stick to one particular thing, but when there is something for like a good couple weeks or a month that I really like, and it just helps me keep creating certain pieces out of me, then I will use that song. And when I'm done with it and I get bored of it, I basically just like try something else. And sometimes it makes me want to rap. Sometimes it makes me want to just write out a story. Sometimes I write a short poem. Again, I never know what's going to come out of me, but I know that that's something that helps me get creative. Number 3 is basically just like being out in nature. I'll go for a walk or a drive and go find a very scenic view, or, sometimes just a drive alone with some music in the car will help me kind of like get that creativity moving and flowing, and has its little rippling effects, basically. So yeah, basically, your creativity is your communication device. It's your canvas. It's your way of just letting people see who you are. And again, your age has a lot to do with it, because there are things that, your age process has a lot to do with it. So, when I was in my teens, you're kind of describing a different way of life at that time. And when I got in my 20s, I'm also describing my way of growing up, becoming a womanhood. And now that I'm in my 30s, it's like, yo, bitch, I'm secure about who I am. I know where I've gone through and blah, blah, blah. And so everything kind of comes in waves, but you have to embrace it. You cannot be afraid of it, especially if you want to just create the best fucking masterpiece the world has ever seen. You have to embrace your growth, and you have to be willing to strive and to do basically what is needed of you, which is take that leap of faith, like I said, and look back at yourself and be like, okay, so this is how we got here. So more than wanting to be creative basically is something that not only we should strive to do, but something that we should strive to do, but something that we need to do if we want to kind of have a more fulfilling experience in our life. And, a lot of people say like, well, why do I even need to be creative? Well, first of all, it's not okay. Being creative is not one of the most important attributes that you can have as a person, but if we're talking about the physical nature of creativity, which is like art, business, innovation, the impact that it has on us is pretty fucking profound if you think about it, and it can help us live longer lives. Why? Because when we're being creative and we're doing what we want to do, we feel happy. And I don't know if you guys have watched stories, but people who have lived the longest in their life, who are about 104 years old or over 100 years old, what's the one thing that they say? They said that they never were unhappy because they were never angry, first of all. They said the secret to living that old is not to get angry, but also to just be happy and with what you are, like being ultimately happy with your creativity. And so that's why I think being creative, why we need to be creative, because it's something that helps us really find that happiness that we've all been kind of searching for. But it can just help you in 3 critical ways. It can help you basically think more positively, right? But these ways, I'm going to list them here for you. So the number one thing that it helps you do is that it helps keep you engaged in what you're doing. And that's very important, because whenever I'm trying to write something and say, like I get maybe distracted, or someone walks in, like my kids, for example, or someone knocks at the door, or it all depends on what you're doing. It's important because a lot of these things happen because we either are not taking care of ourselves, or but keeping yourself engaged, basically, I feel like it pushes you to keep learning, and that's important. And it pushes you to keep interacting with the one thing that you love and that you want to express, whatever that thing may be. But it also is kind of basically finding like a piece of information or something that's basically been cultivating inside of you, and you can share that with like-minded people. So always keep yourself engaged when you're in it. Like, keep yourself engaged, because we need to be creative. It's very important, and it can help us with like when we're our social relationships, like with other people, when we're sharing things with one another, because you never know, a part of your creativity can help somebody else open up theirs, and vice versa. Sometimes other people's music, sometimes other people's words, their art, their business ethics can help you with your creativity. So that's something. Another thing is that it helps reduce stress. So there's a study that was shown that says engaging in creative basically aspects of, creativity is that it produces a similar effect in your brain that meditation does. And so that's why creativity is very important, and this is why we need it, because it doesn't really matter the activity that you're doing that's being creative. Your mind knows that you're being creative, so it stimulates your imagination, like when you're reading, when you're writing, when you're knitting, baking, listening to music, and yes, even creating a new procedure for like business. And basically the process kind of helps you decompress if you're feeling stressed. And so you're not thinking about in your brain another part. Basically it's like, okay, so we're not stressed about this anymore. Now we're thinking happy thoughts, and so we're feeling good, we're feeling calm. And so, basically, when you admire a piece of art, it can basically help you feel a feeling of inspiration, and that is a good stimulating feeling to have in your brain, and that can help you with stress. And so that's why being creative is very important. And basically, the last one is that it improves necessary skills that you may need. So not only is creativity important because, of creating something new, which, it's not just that, but it also kind of helps you develop vital skills that you need to be successful. For example, so say you're trying to engage in creating exercises that help you become better at problem-solving skills, or finding a new method to completing an old task, or basically generating something that is totally brand new that no one's ever heard about. You basically, in turn, that success increases your confidence levels, right? Because of that creativity. And then you're basically achieving a new way of discovery, and then other people can try that. And trust me, it makes you feel really good. So it also kind of provides us with that like path to meet more open-minded and patience with other people. And it's always a really good thing. And also, it ensures that we're willing to basically accept more ideas and look at scenarios with greater depth. And it makes us better thinkers and prepared for challenges that come up ahead. So trust me when I say that basically, creativity is something that we definitely need. And, creativity is more than just drawing a really cool picture or strumming a guitar. It's like a vital component to who we are and our well-being. So always strive to, take the right approach and find new ways to express your creativity, our creativity as the people, and improve your professional life. And that's why it's really important, honestly. And the next time you're in a museum, basically staring at a fucking dope-ass picture or masterpiece, as I like to call them, don't consume yourself with thoughts of like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be like this. Instead, focus on appreciating what it took for that artist to generate that fucking masterpiece or that brilliant work that's in front of you, and ask yourself, what is it that you can create? Okay? Yeah. And just think about that. And yeah. So I hope that I kind of made you think of, about why creativity is important and why we actually need it. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening to today's show. And if I haven't said it already, if you have any questions, or you would like to be on the show, or you think there's a topic that I should be talking about, email me at peopletalknow@hotmail.com and just reach out to me. And as always, you guys already know that I like to leave my show with a new joke and word of the day, because I like you guys leaving my show with learning something absolutely brand new. Yeah. So let's get started with today's. Let's go ahead and do the joke of the day first. So I thought this one was really cute. So one of my friends sent me this one and I thought it was adorable. So I'm going to go ahead and use it today. Although it's kind of cheesy, but I'll still use it. So what do you call a fake spaghetti? Go ahead. I'll run the clock while you guys think about the answer. Just kidding. An impasta. I know, really corny. I said the same thing. You know, what are you going to do? Just laugh about it. Okay, so as always, you guys, like you guys know, I got to leave you with the word of the day because I want you guys to go out into the world and improve your vocabulary and just learn new words because it's also part of being creative and it's also part of being a creative person. Learning to talk better, finding new ways to communicate with people is part of being a creative person. So today's word of the day is neuretic. Neuretic is spelled Neoteric. The definition of neuretic is recent in origin, modern. Aren't we all just neuretic? Did you know an odd thing about neuretic is that this word for things that are modern and new is itself rather old. It's been part of the English since at least 1596, and its roots go back even further. To ancient Greek, we adapted the word from Latin, late Latin, Neutereticus, which also means recent. Neureticus comes from late Greek neuretikos, and ultimately from Greek neos, meaning new or young. As ultimately from Greek neos, meaning new or young, as old as its roots are, however, neuretic itself entered English later than its synonyms, modern, which appeared earlier in the 16th century, and newfangled, which has been with us since the 15th century. So there you go. Let's get with the neuretic times. Yeah. So neuretic, go out and use it. Hashtag peopletalknow, and let me know how you used it, and I'll share it in my stories. Don't be afraid. Let me know how you use the word neuretic today or tomorrow or whenever you want. I don't fucking care. So yes, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching People Talk Now. And if you don't know who I am, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Share with your friends, your grandma, your Uber Eats guy, your Amazon guy. Just share it, you guys. Share the love, share the positivity, share the creativity. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at peopletalknow@hotmail.com and I'll answer you back. So until next time, you guys, thank you so much for watching and have a kick-ass Wednesday. Bye.